What's up, guys? The Snowman on hand, and it's so great to have my first tennis tournament preview video of the year today. We're going to be focusing on the men's international team event that is the ATP Cup. Many of the big stars on the tour will be making their season debuts at this event in Melbourne, so it's going to be exciting. The ATP Cup normally takes place a little bit earlier in the year, but everything kind of being pushed back because of COVID. Same goes for the Australian Open, which is in about a week or so. Stay tuned for my Aussie Open preview, but today we're looking at the ATP Cup, giving some analysis and predictions. And really quickly, before we delve into the groups, just wanted to mention that the format is a little bit different for the ATP Cup this year. Typically, it's a 16-team event, but they've cut that down to 12 nations for 2021, again, due to COVID. So we have 4 groups of 3 teams each for this 5-day event. Each team's going to play one tie against the other 2 countries in their group. A tie is comprised of 2 singles matches and 1 doubles match. Whichever team wins 2 out of 3 wins the tie, and the 4 group winners move on to the semifinals, with the 2 best teams then playing in the final. If you want more info on the format, please check out my ATP Cup Explained video. And looking at the groups now, this is where it gets fun. Group A is the strongest group in my opinion. Novak Djokovic leads the defending champs Serbia into Melbourne. They'll fight for a place in the semifinals against Germany and Canada. Spain is the team to beat in Group B. Nadal and Bautista Agut, a lethal 1-2 punch for the Spaniards. They join Greece and the host nation Australia. Group C is probably the most difficult group to predict. Plenty of intrigue thanks to the star power provided to us by Austria, Italy, and France. And in the final group, Group D, Russia will pin its hopes on the combination of Daniil Medvedev and Andrei Rublev. They'll be the solid favorites here alongside Argentina and Japan. Let's dive into each group individually. I mentioned that Group A is loaded with Serbia, Germany, and Canada. Each of these 3 teams have great reasons to come away group winners. Serbia's best claim to success is, of course, through Novak Djokovic. He stunningly won his last 20 singles matches in Australia. That includes going 6-0 at the inaugural ATP Cup last January, helping Serbia lift the trophy. Joker even pitched in, played some doubles. I suspect we'll see him back in some doubles actions this year as well. Canada will favor their chances because they have perhaps the best number 2 singles player at this event. Each country designates one player as their number 1 and one player as their number 2 based on singles rankings. So you can see for Canada, Denis Shapovalov is their ace. But watch out for Milos Raonic, who typically plays his best tennis early in the year while his body is still fresh. Raonic gives Canada a huge edge as he'll be going head-to-head against the likes of Dusan Lajovic and Jan-Lennard Struff. Then Germany's blue chipper is Alexander Zverev. He's played in a ton of big matches over the last 3 years, has beaten Djokovic at the ATP Finals, and Germany is one of the best doubles pairings at this event with Kevin Krajicek and Andreas Mies. They won the men's doubles title at Roland Garros last season. Doubles a huge part of this competition, and Germany definitely has the advantage here in Group A. That being said, this should be a really tight group. I'm leaning towards picking Canada to win, mostly because Shapovalov has played well against Djokovic recently, lost in a 3rd set breaker at the ATP Cup last year. Dennis has also taken a set off of Novak at the Aussie Open. And I just see Raonic punishing Lajovic and Struff. It's an insanely captivating group. Who knows, maybe Joker goes full Thanos mode and just blitzes through the competition like last year. I can't wait to see. The margin's not likely to be as thin in Group B with Spain, Greece, and Australia. Spain returns all the key cogs from the team that made the 2020 ATP Cup final. Rafa Nadal, Roberto Bautista Agut. They've got Pablo Carreño Busta, Marcel Granollers for doubles duty. Just doesn't seem like the other 2 teams in Group B have the firepower to hang with Spain. Of course, Nadal is going to compete at an extremely high level, but for Rafa to have a wingman like Bautista Agut makes them borderline invincible. Like Djokovic, RBA was a perfect 6-0 in singles at this competition last year, feasting on lesser opponents as Nadal dealt with the big boys. I see Bautista Agut having that same type of success again. Speaking of lesser opposition, Team Greece has the lowest ranked player at this year's ATP Cup. Of all the singles players participating, all but 1 are ranked inside of the top 100. That exception is the number 2 Greek player, Mikhail Pervelerakis. and you're excused if you haven't heard too much of his work before now. Pervolarikis' career record on the ATP Tour, just 0-3, so he's never won a match on this level, and maybe asking too much for the Greek number one, Stefanos Tsitsipas, to overcome, but we know Steph is going to come out swinging. Australia was a joy to watch at last season's ATP Cup. So much team spirit and camaraderie led by Nick Kyrgios. No Kyrgios this time, but Alex de Minaur and John Millman are back. De Minaur is going to get his rematch versus Nadal. They played in the semifinal tie last year. Demon winning the first set, but falling 6-1 in the third. And I'm sure the Aussies are going to entertain us, but no surprise in Group B. I do see Spain coming out the victors. They want to do one better than last year, and if you break this group down match by match, there isn't a single matchup where Spain won't be the heavy favorite. Moving on to Group C, where the complexion of each team really intrigues me. Austria, Italy, and France. It's very similar to Group A, where you have one nation with the best player, in this case Austria with team. You have one country with the best pair of singles players. You would think that favors Italy's dynamic duo of Berrettini and Fognini. And you have a third team who has the major edge in doubles with France. So I think it's all to play for in Group C. There's going to be a great deal of pressure on the reigning U.S. Open champion Dominic Thiem. He knows he'll have to be nearly flawless in singles if Austria is to make a deep run in Melbourne. Thiem's co-star is once again Denis Novak. Those two great friends. Novak is actually coached by Dominic's father, Wolfgang Thiem. With Italy, I'm expecting the unexpected, as they have as high amount of variance as any other nation. I think they have the talent to make the final, or I could also picture an implosion resulting in 2 defeats and a swift exit. Berrettini is their number one, and he's got all the power and artillery at his disposal to blast anyone off the court. But Matteo has also shown very poor form in Australia the last couple of years. And we all know what a wild card Fabio Fognini is, a true X factor. Most nations would dream of possessing a 1-2 lineup like that. They just have to lock in and focus. The same could be said for France. Benoit Paire, another hothead who can go off the rails at times, also capable of playing exquisite tennis. Gael Monfils, the French talisman, looking for a good jumpstart to his 2021 campaign. And I find Group C so fascinating because we've seen all these big names play each other at huge tournaments in the last couple of years. There's a lot of rematches. Monfils and Berrettini had an epic 5-setter at the 2019 US Open. Berrettini and Thiem met at the ATP Finals that same year. Paire and Fognini know each other well, so there won't be many secrets. Tough to call a winner, but I'd guess France, mostly because of the edge they'll have in doubles with Mahut and Roger Vasselin. Finally, in Group D, we've got the mighty Russians putting their mettle to the test against Argentina and Japan. We mentioned some of the best duos at this year's ATP Cup, Shapo and Raonic, Nadal and Bautista Agut, the Italians. Well, Team Russia is the only team that possesses 2 players currently ranked in the top 10 ATP singles rankings. Daniil Medvedev and Andrei Rublev is basically an unfair pairing for the Russians. Medvedev coming off the biggest title of his career at the ATP Finals in London late last year. Rublev also made his inaugural appearance at that event as one of the best 8 players in the world. So Russia is must-see TV. Not all doom and gloom for Argentina, though, as they bring a top 10 player of their own in Diego Schwartzman. He and Guido Pella, that's an above-average tandem in my estimation. They did advance out of the group stage at last year's ATP Cup. Only thing for me is Schwartzman and Pella are always going to perform more optimally on slower clay courts, not the quicker hard courts down under. My expectations are relatively low for Japan. It's been a long road back from injury for Kei Nishikori. He's won just 2 matches in the last 16 months. Yoshihito Nishioka, the Japanese number 2. This group is definitely the one I'm most comfortable predicting. I see Russia cruising by. Not only did the Russians knock Argentina out of this event last year, but Medvedev has played Schwartzman at their last 2 tournaments, and both times it was an absolute rout. Medi winning easily in London and in Paris. He's 5-0 head-to-head versus the Argentine, so no worries there. Rublev should handle his business as well. I've got Russia winning Group D and give me Russia over Canada in the semis, Spain over France in the other semifinal, and I guess Russia defeats Spain in the final to win the 2021 ATP Cup. Medvedev, he's beaten Nadal recently, and Russia just might have the best team on paper. All right, so let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with about my analysis for this year's ATP Cup. I'm very excited. Please leave a comment, though. Subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more tennis content. Definitely be on the lookout for my Australian Open preview in about a week, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks a lot for watching. Cheers.